So on the bottom of the deck, we have here the Page of Water, which is about somebody new coming in. Could be romantic. The Page of Water tends to make a tangible offer of love. So in a lot of the decks, you see they're holding a cup, a chalice, and there's a fish coming out of it. And that's the idea, that they're offering you something real. It's not just kind of a pie in the sky idea, or that they're just playing and giving you a bunch of lip service, but this is somebody that wants to bring something in. So if you are single, this could be that offer of love. If you are not single, if you're in a relationship already, this could be that you are beginning a new pursuit. You're doing something that you feel passionate about, something that you love or really enjoy doing, or that you're about to be embarking on that. So let's take a look at the rest of these cards and see where that comes into play. Covering you, we have the Five of Earth. This is the basic energy that we're operating with at this point. Some of you may be having some concerns about money, some difficulty, or I want to say uncertain self-employment. Let me just read these keynotes. The wisdom to accept help from others. Five of Earth. In some decks, it looks like people rushing in front of a stained glass window, and it's kind of like being left out in the cold. So it can be that. There may be some area in your life where you're feeling like it's not quite matching up materially. Some of you, it may be disappointment in an existing or established situation. This could be anything material. It could be sex life. It could be work life. It could be money. It could be, whatever. So you do have to take it as it resonates, right? If you're single, this could even be, for some reason, I'm thinking sexual frustration. So again, take it as it resonates. Sometimes I get weird things and I want to bite them back, but then I'm like, I can't be authentic as a reader if I'm going to censor myself. So I'm just going to throw it out there. And if I sound like I'm fucking nuts, I just don't really even care. Now, in influencer energy that's coming into play is this Queen of Air. Could be a fellow Gemini, could be Libra or Aquarius, air sign, somebody operating in that energy. This could be somebody who's truthful, logical, honest, funny, like witty. I'm thinking highbrow comedy type situation. But somebody who's interesting and well-developed in the logical sense. Now, for some of you, this could be about the clearing away of something. And when I look up here, kind of what's on your mind is this Eight of Water, which is a desire to move on. Eight of Water is about leaving something behind. It's Eight of Cups. And when you want to Eight of Cups something, that's when you want to leave. So for some of you, you're willing and able to do that. You're going to pull out your own internal Queen of Air. It doesn't have to be a biological male or female or whatever. It's male or female. But it could be that some of you are ready and determined. It's leaving is on your mind, and this is what you're going to do. You've made up that decision, and you're about to, or you already have done this energy here. You're cutting it out. Okay. So for some of you, it could be that you've met an air sign coming into your life and you're thinking about leaving your current situation. For others of you, it could be that there's something dissatisfying, even in a work situation, right? Where you're just not feeling the fit. You're not feeling like you belong there and you really want to cut and move from that work situation or whatever. Again, take it as it resonates, right? These next two cards I'll pretty much pull up together, kind of like I did the Eight of Water and the Queen of Air. The Two of Air is about that kind of a stalemate, indecisive energy. And I know we went through this last time. For a lot of you Geminis, you kind of live in that maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't kind of energy. And that can be challenging if you don't really know. Sometimes we just kind of have to do it, right? We just have to cut it out. We just have to chop it off, whatever it is. Don't Lorena Bobbitt the situation. Does anybody but me remember the Lorena Bobbitt? So this is kind of where you are. You're conflicted. It's like, in a sense, you want to move on, but then, for whatever reason, you don't. It's like you want to hang in there. What's the point of that, right? Behind you, head and heart decision or a lover. If you've been single or if you've been straying, this would be somebody comes into your life, this lover, possibly a fellow air sign. And you're feeling conflicted because of it. You're not sure what to do in this situation. You want your cake and you want to eat it too. I could make a bad joke with that. I don't know you that well. I won't. But Lovers is about balancing energies. This card represents Gemini. So for some of you, you could be a Gemini connecting with another Gemini. Quite possible, right? Or head and heart decision that you have to make, which ties back in with our Two of Air. But either way, it's the sense of a conflict in here. You're interested in somebody. You're not feeling the satisfaction over here in something that you've built. And you're questioning whether or not you should cut and run, move on or not. It's not an easy position to be in. And please don't mistake me for making light of any kind of situation like that. It's not a comfortable thing. Now, if you're single and this is coming in, you have some person in your life. There may be some kind of difficulty and you're undecided what to do about that. Part of you wants to cut that out, whoever this person was. But it looks like this person in your recent past was a good balance for you. In a general reading, I sometimes get different storylines kind of simultaneously. So, I mean, if this is that person for you, not that you've been single because this would be your past tense, but you know what I mean? Like, this person here, you're thinking, do I cut them out because something's going wrong in here? And a part of you does feel left out of that situation, or maybe you can't be fully yourself with it. You're feeling indecisive. What are you fearing? You know, sometimes people have a difficulty opening up and really being themselves in a emotional relationship. It can be a very scary place in there. I've seen people that will face down, I don't even know what, but they're so scared to death to get into their emotions and to really understand that and to open up and be raw with somebody. This here, this is in the future, in the immediate future, really. But these are some plans that need revision, more going on that meets the eye, or poor timing. I see this as a carousel, like a bunch of carousel horses going around in circles. This is someplace that you've been before, but it's also about rumination. Like when your mind is going over and over and over some kind of ground because you're stuck in some indecision and you're not sure what to do here. You're just trying to go on, carry on, you know, this and that. Part of you wants to cut. Part of you just wants to like leave the situation. It's on your mind, but it doesn't seem to really go there, right? It doesn't seem to go there. That makes me question, what's the fear? 7 of air, 8 of air, 9 of air, 10 of air. Those are all anxiety and pain from other people, from yourself, from rumination, from creation of self-imposed prison, a mental prison. They're not easy cards to work through. But part of that is determining, what is this to you? Again, for some of you, this could be this lover that comes into your life. For others of you, it could be that you want to make this head and heart decision. Part of you wants to cut out whatever that is because you've got your eye on something else. There's a vision that you have for something that could be better. You want something to move forward. This horse is moving forward. It is not on that carousel that we saw here in the 7 of air. How do you talk yourself out of making change? How do you talk yourself into or out of things? These are rhetorical questions. These are get out a journal, get out your voice recorder on your phone, however you do it, and go through some of these. Ask yourself these tougher questions because you may learn a lot about your own process. Some of you, because Gemini is really smart typically, so some of you may need to step out of your thought process and lower it down, you know, about a foot or so from your brain into your heart. And don't think your heart's going to give you too many bum steers either, because a lot of times it's really in the balance that we find between those things. We do have, well, I don't want to get caught up in that per se, but our heart communicates to our brain as well as the other way around. In fact, our heart communicates more to our brain than our brain to our heart, which is interesting because you think the brain's in charge of everything. But no, we really need that. Our heart is a centerpiece between our lower chakras, right? The ones that have to do with manifestation, creation, building, material. And the higher levels, which are the throat, the ability to speak our truth, speak who we are, say what's on our mind, our intuitive centers, our knowledge, right? Our connection with source, our downloads that we receive from spirit or from our higher power, from our wise mind, however you want to frame that, right? When we live closer into our heart chakra, we have that balance between our material, I need to get shit done, and our thinking processes and our spiritual contentment. All right, lecture over, I suppose. The card representing you is the wheel card. The wheel card, I'm looking at the 10 up at the top. The 1, 10 reduces to 1 in numerology. 1 is about self. It's about self-empowerment, self-care, self-love, self-respect. It's not about selfishness. It's about self-care, right? Self-respect. But it's also a higher octave, because it is a 10. It's not the 1, it's the 10, so it's at a higher level. I guess the point that I'm saying is this is really about you leveling up into that place where you can be more authentic. And Archangel Michael walks us through a lot of the journey that has to do with our purpose, our soul purpose on earth, this rotation. I don't know if I believe in past lives or not. I don't want to go there, but I don't know. Right? Because whatever the programming, the computer program in my brain for this life is not to remember the other lives, really. And we haven't worked on that so much in my healer class yet, but we're getting there. But I guess the point is, this is about you learning how to level up. And the wheel has to do with, there's help behind the scenes. There's people that are put into your life for a purpose. Sometimes it's a karmic lesson. You're learning something. It's about your personal growth and development. Soulmates, twin flames, whatever. All of those individuals are brought into our life for specific purposes of growth. And I really think that's about learning self-love and other love and trying to find a balance between the two of them. How can I love myself and set limits with you without being selfish against you and ignoring your needs, because I also want to respect and honor you as well? Where do we find that boundary? Where do we set that line? The wheel is about movement in your favor. Spirit has been working behind the scenes to make things happen for you. Don't shut it down, right? Don't shut it down. This is about divine timing and deliverance to you at a place where you're ready to receive it, even if you don't know that you're ready to receive that. They're working in your favor. And this card represents you and the role that you are in that. Okay? In the environment card, this can be about missing that opportunity. The 1 cup that we see here has to do with self-love, self-care. In fact, we're going to see this card in a moment. I'm peeking ahead. This is about missing an opportunity. This is, sometimes this is called the old maid or the bachelor card. It's sort of like no offer that's made to us is good enough. This could be some of that self-doubt. I'm not good enough. I don't want to self-disclose. So I'm turning down what seems to be a balanced relationship or a balance within myself because there's something in me that I'm rejecting. For some of you, this reading is about yourself and your relationship with yourself. Others, it could be about another person. This is scaring me. And so I want to cut it out, right? I'm afraid and I want to cut it out. I want to reject this beautiful offer that's been coming in because I have fear. I don't recognize all the work that's been going on behind the scenes to orchestrate this meeting, this introduction. I don't recognize that it's time for me to accept myself, to accept my direction in life. My purpose. Hopes and fears. 10 of fire. This is about responsibility. Taking on too much. This is what you're afraid of. Am I going to overburden myself with that? It's a lot of work. Yes, romantic relationships, even when we want them, are a lot of work. New job opportunities, whatever. That's a lot of work. It's a lot to do. Sometimes we get health concerns because we're stressed out. We can get overburdened. We can burn out. The 10 of fire. Again, that's kind of towards the end of a cycle, a completion of a cycle, the 10. But that's the point where the passion is, it's overwhelming at that point. It's burning down because your back is feeling the stress. You're feeling tired from it. That's kind of the fear, in a sense. Maybe there's a party that wants to be done with all of that. Maybe you want to be overburdened and overworked because then you don't have to face this internal mess, which isn't really all that messy. It's not really all that bad. It's very human. It's very human. Is there somebody you can talk to receive some clarity on the conflict that you're experiencing? And what does that look like for you? A lot of times we have a tendency to over-pathologize our lives. It's like, no, it's part of the human condition to be conflicted, to not know what to do, to have to make these head and heart decisions over all these different things. Is there some kind of a cycle that is coming to a completion and you're recognizing that? And that's where this idea up here about 8 of Cupsing the situation. I listened to another reader. She's like, 8 of Cups, that ass. When she's like, you need to be done with this person. Or whatever that situation is for you, right? Again, general reading. Now, the final outcome card is Ace of Water, falling in love or resurgence of a relationship, spiritual growth and enhanced intuition and a new home. That could be what some of this block is. If you've been feeling kind of left out in the cold, you've been feeling like whatever it is that you've been in, it has not been satisfying for you, but yet you fear cutting that or making that change. What's that about? Ace of Water is very much so about self-care, however, and self-love. It's not not 2 aces. It's not the 2 of Water, which is a soulmate relationship. It's the Ace of Water. It's about loving yourself enough to be able to do some of the tough stuff. I know sometimes things take a lot of time to get them going, especially if you've built a situation. You're at a job, for example, and you feel like it's time to move on to a new job, a new purpose, even a career change, something significant. It can be really hard to do. It's like, I put so much time and energy into this. Why am I going to stop that now? Well, the fact is, when it's done, it's done. Okay, so you've had 10 years at your job. Do you want to be looking back at 20 years into the job and saying, something, I'm still not feeling content here. I'm still feeling left out in the cold. I'm still having fears about my material well-being. I'm feeling uncertain about my ability to maintain and to manage on my own. You're talking yourself out of something. Again, that's the 7 of air energy. This is about worries and concerns. Rumination, right? Sleepless nights, in a sense, going around in circles, going around mentally in the same damn circles over and over and over and over and over again. It's really scary. Sometimes we have to take that leap of faith, we just do. It's, there are good positive ways to set ourselves up for success, though. We can make slower transitions. We can set up a game plan, an exit plan, strategy, whatever you need to do. Talk it through with somebody who's sane and sensible. Could be a therapist, could be a best friend, could be whatever. All right. We had a jumper, so I'm going to go ahead and take this. All right. This card is Focus. And focus. Think about what you want, not what you don't want. Oh, this is already spot on, isn't it? I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. Not to be a shit, just, in your face with it. I'm not trying to be like that. I'm just, it's whatever. It's what I do. It's what I do. Think about what you want, not what you don't want. Guard your thoughts carefully because they create your experiences. Sometimes it seems that our thoughts choose us, but this is never the case. This card is so spot on. We always choose our thoughts every moment. Our thoughts always have an effect, and there are no neutral thoughts. 1/2 second before you hold a thought, you decide to hold it. So with practice, you can learn to monitor and alter your thoughts. This is the equivalent of putting your hands on the steering wheel of your life. Oh my gosh. The steering wheel of your life. Where the hell was I? Oh yeah. You may believe that your concentration abilities are impaired, yet the infallible mind of God is within your own mind. You can experience remarkable feats of concentration by affirming, I am now able to focus my mind at will. I hold only loving thoughts, and my angels act as my gatekeepers in establishing a steady stream of thoughts of love. Definitely, we should ask for help from the world around us. Ask for help and guidance from Spirit. They do answer your questions and your prayers, but you have to ask them, right? We have free will. We have free will. So do angels. So do spirit guides and helpers. So they don't want to interfere. They don't want to disrupt the flow of our unique experience. They respect that. So sometimes we do have to ask for that. And then be sure that you have quiet time, meditation moments. Look for signs, especially if you see something 2-3 times or more. It's a butterfly that's going out of its way to circle your head, or maybe you keep seeing the same numbers on the clock, or whatever. You'll find that certain things like that are in fact signs. And all you got to do is just Google it, right? Because there's so much information out there. I do that. I used to waste a lot of time at work Googling different things that were happening, different weird synchronicities that I couldn't quite explain through logic and sense and reason. But